Hello, guys, and welcome to the Phee Network's Night with Phee. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Hit that share button, subscribe, like us, love us, rock and roll with us. We're ready to partay tonight on the Phee Network. Just got through with Phee Sports Balls with Sir Isaac the Guru. Sir Isaac was traveling this week, had a special guest from the Ozark Mountain regions of Arkansas, Queen Bee, Miss Sierra Smee. She gave you her picks. It's Phee versus the females, a segment we're going to enjoy having every single week as we will be bringing on expert young ladies that are phenomenal prognosticators. So we'll shall see if any of them can beat Phee. I certainly doubt it, but we've got 6 different picks out of 10 this week. We'll see how we come out, Phee versus the females. Night with Phee. Thank you for tuning in. Go to feesme.com. You'll see a questionnaire there. You can ask us a question. I'll be glad to read it on the air. We do take it down while I'm on the air, so we're going to get that worked out also and be on the air 24/7 at thefeesme.com at some point. But I can tell you we got a lot going on in the world today. As you can tell from the Russian-Ukraine war all the way over into China, talking about with Taiwan, and then you just got to be realizing what's going on in Venezuela. It's a world gone mad, but the United States, with its civil unrest, tends to keep us occupied. The people, at least, that are paying attention. So I do appreciate you tuning in to Night with Phee. Tonight's, we're going to talk about the mouth of the lion. You know, Daniel, in his prophecy, he saw 4 beasts in Daniel 7. And one was the mouth of a lion, had the head of a lion, the mouth of a lion. And in 7:4, the wings of an eagle were plucked from that lion. But the lion is Great Britain. When I had the vision on June the 24th, 2023, it was very obvious to me what the animals were. My Lord made it easy for me in doing so. So the lion is the mouthpiece of that beast that in John saw in Revelations 12:4, that there were no eagle's wings because they had been plucked, but those 4 beasts had been joined together as one beast. Well, now the UK has had its king and the Pope meet in the last 3 weeks. They've had some other problems in their own inner circles with some of their family members and the Epsteins. But more than anything, we need to be talking about King Charles, that believes that more in climate change and green peace than he does with trying to protect the innocence of children and babies. Well, now the Prime Minister of the UK has come out and said that every UK resident or citizen will have to have a digital ID to be able to work in the year 2026. So they've had over 1.5 million protests in the streets with the digital ID. They say that there's way too many Muslims that have moved into Europe. Also, that they've had open borders that have caused all kinds of people to take jobs from other folks. They just tend to get on whatever side that they need to get on. I saw clips of Obama and Hillary Clinton talking about how they had to eliminate these people coming into our country and to have strong borders. And they're taking jobs away from people. And now, you know, it hadn't just been, you know, they're on tape. It's their game film. Now they flip-flop to the point where you don't even know who they are anymore. So, again, these globalists have an agenda, and it is open borders. And it's already happened, and there's nothing we can do about it except try to get them out, because that is the plan: invade all of these different countries and then outpopulate them and then gain control in order to separate or divide and conquer. That is what's going on with the United Nations, which will be, sooner or later, it will be centered in Europe. They have an office in Geneva, Switzerland now. They also have an office in New York. So at some point, the United Nations and all of those European countries that have all the European bankers that are all owed money that you never hear about but control everything, and I mean everything, including governments. They control it all when you control the money of the world. And with these central banks, with this digital currency, what you're going to find is all over Europe now, people are inserting these ID cards or ID scanners inside their body. So the system, or the beast system, that is going to be evident to everybody after the Sixth Trumpet War, which is a war that will kill a third of mankind. It is World War III. And when that war kills a third of mankind, everybody in the world will get ready and accept that one world government. All this death and destruction. Well, your world will never be the same. So they're all going to sign up for these marks. And the mark of the beast system is already available. Remember, though, once they get UK, if you're going to have to work, it's like the COVID shot. If you want to raise a family here, be a citizen here, you have to do this. It's the same thing that's going to go on all over the world. What's surprising is in other parts of Europe where people are doing this, in Finland and Denmark, they're doing it not because it's mandatory, but because it's convenient. They don't have to keep up with their keys or their wallets or their money, or they get access to everything and anything from their where they live to what they drive to any public transportation to any meal that they want to any vending machine that they want, whatever they want to purchase. Remember, though, that's called control. That's tracking is what that is. That's surveillance. That's knowing every penny of where your money goes, how you can spend it, what you can spend it on, where you can go and travel, what you can own. All of that stuff is coming. All you have to do is go to the United Nations 2030 initiative. And they started this 20 years ago. And it's almost 2030. And it basically is going to redistribute the wealth where you're not going to own anything. You're not going to own any private businesses or any land. They're going to give you a basic income. And they're going to tell you what to do and how to spend it. And it's going to be really good at first. That's how you create a very good paradise for the masses, for the mob mentality. It's fantastic. And then what happens is, once they get you and you're in the hook, you're on the hook or you're in the trap, then they tend to, kind of grind down on you and make it pretty tight until you're a slave. And there's only a few people, the dictators and the folks that are running the system, if it's a global one world system and a one world government. And they're going to deceive you like you wouldn't believe in everything that they can. And that's what's coming. That's what you're seeing in these European countries. And tonight, the mouth of the lion is speaking again. Is when they come out and they say, by 2026, if you want to stay in the UK and you want to work, you're going to have a digital ID. Folks, that's the central bank digital currencies that are going to come and they're going to control this world. 95% of currencies today are done digitally. You're almost at that cashless society that they were writing about in the 1980s. How much cash do you have? Because the lion, the leopard, the 10 horns with the European Union, and the foot of a bear are all going to be against the eagle and the 12 ladies, the lady with the 12 stars. And we've got a whole lot of things to go through before we get to that point. So thank you for tuning in to Night with Phee. We'll get back with the mouth of the lion at the end of the show, but I do appreciate these questions, and we'll go to the questions now. Phee, what are the benefits and consequences of weaponizing the dollar? Ben in North Carolina. Ben, it is beneficial to almost every country in the world to devalue the dollar. The dollar is the strongest currency in the world. Currencies do not last long in any countries. You're not going to find a dollar, a yen, a pound. 200 years ago or 250 years ago, it was about a pound. In different countries, throughout cultures, you've had the ruble from Russia, and you've had the yen from China. You've got a lot of different currencies. People make lots of money every day changing dollars into yens, and yens into rubles, and rubles into euros, and euros into gold, and gold back. It just goes on, and by the end of the day, they've made millions and millions of dollars, and all they've done is transfer currencies. Currency is the key, and the United States the Lord has blessed us because we're going to support the nation of Israel to where everything is traded globally on the U.S. dollar. That puts us in a situation of being a bully. That puts us in a situation where people don't like when we set the rules. Remember, we get the best goods. We get the best rates. So what is it beneficial to weaponize the U.S. dollar? Well, you found that countries would buy and invest in the U.S. Treasury notes to stabilize their currency. Remember, the United States, when it was founded, it was backed by gold. And then in the 70s, they went away from the gold standard and went to a petrodollar. And the 50-year agreement that the United States had with the petrodollar in Saudi Arabia controlled all of the foreign exchange markets. So if France wanted to sell something to South America, or let's say South Africa, if France wanted to sell something to South Africa, their transaction would be completed in U.S. dollars. If Russia wanted to buy something from China, their transaction would be completed in U.S. dollars. That gave the United States a tremendous advantage in the world banking system. So weaponizing the U.S. dollar is beneficial to foreign countries. For example, now Russia owns $300 billion worth of U.S. Treasury notes. Warren Buffett owns more U.S. Treasury notes now than the Federal Reserve does. Those are big countries, big players that are weaponizing the dollar. Why? Because they've got things like cryptocurrency. They also have all these countries with the BRICS nations. That's Brazil and Russia and India and China and Saudi Arabia. And the BRICS nations are trying to do business with the central bank digital currencies in what they would call a BRICS note or dollar. And they're even coming back and buying so much gold now that that's the reason you see gold's up so high. It's not because of the retail market. There's not a whole lot of retail market for $4,000 an ounce. Nations are buying that gold. You're talking about huge banking systems buying that gold. Countries, banks, all of the institutionalized people are the ones that are going to be buying all of this gold, and have been since I told you last year that gold and silver are the plays, and they're both up 60% this year. And it's just going to continue. Remember, the retail market, the con is that people are buying $4,000 an ounce. Russia's buying it by the ton. China's buying it by the ton. India's buying it by the ton. Saudi Arabia's buying it by the ton. You're buying it by the ounce. So don't believe that the retail market is making gold go up 60% since January 1 of this year. What you'll find in silver is an industrial mineral that's going to be used for all the different technologies. So it's kind of a supply and demand type of play, although it normally moves up and down at the same time because they are precious metals. So again, the gold is in the retail because countries, nations, big banks, big, huge corporations, and big players like Warren Buffett that ought to tell you that when he takes to over $200 billion out of the market, that he knows that what's going to happen to the market. But obviously, he's the dumb one. He's the mark at the table. But I would tell you that U.S. Treasury notes owned by foreign countries to where they can de-dollarization. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to de-dollarization. It's known in financial circles since 2022, since the Russia-Ukraine war started. The goal is for them to de-dollarization. Let's de-dollarize. Let's limit their dollars. Anything we can take away from their market share. So now when Russia sells to India billions of dollars worth of oil, they can do it with the BRICS. They can complete the transaction with the BRICS. So the United States they're not the house anymore. In a pari-mutuel betting pool, you want to take my 20% off the top and just divide everybody else's money for the winners and the losers. That's a horse track right there. So that's what they're trying to do with this BRICS. This BRICS not going to take over the U.S. dollar, but what it's going to do is going to continue to devalue it and hope that they collapse it when they throw it all on the market at one time. It is a game, folks, to these people that if you don't know the rules, you're out of the game. It's over before you start. The end is already been decided. It's a fixed game. So you better know that yes, they are trying to weaponize the U.S. dollar. It is not beneficial to us. And bottom line is, gold and silver. They're going to have currencies that are backed by gold, because a lot of these things are just smoke and mirrors with these currencies. And if you can pick the right one that's going to stabilize and go with a dollar to gold value 1-to-1, then that's a good deal. But being able to keep that law of those averages is very hard in economics. It's a supply and demand issue. And the United States has benefited from having the demand on the U.S. dollar for the last 50 years when it hasn't been backed by gold. It's been backed by the petrodollar. And that's why you're not driving cars, and hadn't been for 50 years, when there's been technologies out there for you to drive it with solar in the windshield and water and anything else you want to, whether it's banana peels or corn shucks. I promise you could do it with perpetual motion energy technology, much less electric batteries and hydrogen or water. I mean, you can do it with all of them. It's as simple as pedaling a bicycle when it gets down to that basics. And from a coach, that's what I like to start as, is just the basics. But the devaluation of the dollar is already here. It's already lost 10% of its value since January 1 of 2025. It's going to continue to lose. Remember, these tariffs, they generate revenue. And our president is doing a good job. He's anointed for this time in trying to generate revenue right now in the United States. But when you put those tariffs on and generate that revenue, the basic laws of economics will tell you that the cost of goods definitely have to go up. You can't have it both ways. So you're going to bring in a whole lot of money, but the cost of goods are going to cost the consumer more. And that's what you go into these other countries and you see, it costs 150 pesos for a Coke. There's the destabilization of currency. And whoever controls the currency controls the world. Remember, the Antichrist, when he comes on, you're going to have to take that mark or you're not going to be able to buy or sell. So there's your whole key of your beast system. So that's what they're trying to do when they weaponize the U.S. dollar. The benefit to them is to destabilize it because they now have enough countries. I think they've had 30 this year join BRICS. I think they're going to have brick-backed dollars that are gold-backed. They're going to call them gold bricks or gold dollars. But they're going to have something that is backed by gold because they're buying gold. And when gold's $4,000 an ounce, I can assure you that huge countries and conglomerate bankers, Federal Reserve folks, and the European bankers that run all the different central banks and world banks, those families are stacking that gold up. And the reason they are is to be able to have a gold-based currency when that time is right. And it'll be right when they think it's right. And I believe it'll be right after World War III, the Sixth Trumpet War that kills a third of mankind. That's when everything that's already set up and in place, then they will make you do it. And pretty much what they'll do is they'll mentally condition it to where you want to do it, and they'll make it really good, especially after what people have been through. When you see that war, they're going to sign up for a whole lot of things. So stay tuned to the Phee Network where you're not deceived, and we're going to go right by the Word of God. There is no pre-tribulation. You're going to endure to the end, and I have seen it. I can assure you it's rough. The last 3.5 years of Satan's wrath is tough for the elect, the saints, the Christians. A lot of death, a lot of torture. So this is how they do it. They do it by weaponizing the dollar and then by destabilizing the dollar. So I don't know if I missed anything. I said last November the 5th, I told you to invest in gold and silver. Both are up 60% to date. So remember, again, when we talk about the foreign exchange markets, the Forex, you want at least 80% of those transactions to be in U.S. dollars. And you're used to a whole lot more than that. But you don't want to destabilize less than that, or then you get into some serious collapsing of the economy. And remember, they're going to make you think that you're a part of the decision-making on the economy. But the economy pretty much is set by certain folks, certain indicators, just like everything else is in life. And if you know how to play that game, and you're in on that game, you can make a whole lot of money in a quick amount of time, and everybody else can lose a whole lot. You want to be on the right side of that. So I would tell you that precious metals, the average Joe play is silver. You can exchange it for about anything. It can come in the coins. You can have them delivered, and you can use that if something happens with the U.S. dollar. As far as carrying a $4,000 bar of ounce, you're going to have to buy the gold coins. You're going to have to get them in different denominations, and I think there's only 6 states, maybe 7. I think there's 6 states. Florida, I do know, just legalized it, but Utah, I do know, has it, and they accept the gold tokens, gold and silver coins for the same amount. They just weigh it and tell you how much it is, and they exchange it for your goods or whatever goods that you like. So that is that's the basically what they're trying to do in weaponizing the dollar. Remember, the Bible tells you in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, 1 out of every 4 verses is about money. In Matthew through Revelations, the whole New Testament, 1 in every 6 verses, that's 18%, is about money. 30% of the Bible is prophecy, but you can just see at the end of times how the money how people who have chased money instead of serve a Lord, and people that have got into debt for credit markets based on what they want, not what they need. The culture has shifted, and boy, I tell you, I have played my role in it and loved every minute of it. So I'm not preaching at you. I'm just basically coaching and telling you what's going on. So there's your end of times at 25% of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and 18% of the whole New Testament about money for this exact time. You're fixing to make some decisions. Are you going to make it based on money? Or are you going to make it based on a personal relationship with your Lord Jesus Christ? Because it's going to get that serious, and it's going to get there very quickly. So I have seen it, and it's not pretty. Thank you for the question. I do appreciate that. Ben in North Carolina. Second question. Phee, if the United States isn't part of the world government, how do we survive economically? Steve in Kansas. Well, Steve, there is. I've told many people I do not believe that the United States will ever be a part of the mark of the beast system. I think the United States will have their own system. I'm not naive. They're going to want to track and surveil and everything that their citizens are doing too after World War III, just like they've been doing since 9/11. But they've been doing it different ways. But I can assure you that the United States will have a plan, because we're so strong after World War III that we can protect Israel for the last 3.5 years, times and a half at times, 42 months. So we know how strong we are, and we know we win in the end. But we've got a lot of problems to go through, and most civil unrest, cyber attacks, terrorist attacks, people that are in your country that do not love your country and want bad things to happen to your country. Anywhere from 150 at 99.9% being caught of the 1% that got in that had bad intentions. That's 1 out of 1, and then taking 99.9 of that 1, you still got 150 different events. And if it's 1%, it's 1,500. So it's just going to be like a machine gun. Boom, 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 boom. It'll be orchestrated, and it'll be very well funded, and you will not know whether it's accidents, protests, civil war, until they'll give you some whatever answer they want to give you. So stay tuned to the Phee Network and stay ahead of the curve, because I can assure you this, the civil unrest is coming. And how can we survive economically? Is because the United States will make do with what we have, and we'll be strong, and we'll have access to certain things. You got a lot of land in Canada and a lot of land in Mexico, Central America and South America that are connected to our continent, and those things can change pretty quick. I know we've got oceans to our east and to our west, but north and south of us, we got problems, and they've been coming across our borders. We've got people that are in politics, in government positions, in powerful positions, and they just tend to get things in that they want to, when they want to, how they want to, without anybody knowing. The rest of the folks, they get caught. And so I don't expect the fentanyl to go away in our country. Let's try to cut it by 83, 85%. Let's not expect abortions to go away in our country, but let's cut it 83 to 85%. Sooner or later, these people are going to have to realize, since the beginning of time to the end of time, that children are the targets for these people. I don't understand it. I don't understand why, but all throughout all of their different biblical texts, it's the sacrificing of children. It is constant in almost all of the cultures, and what they've done is China even said, "How do you destroy America? You destroy it from teaching their children, that generation, dividing them on their religion, and creating chaos from their patriotism." If you take away our loyalty to our country and our love for our country, and you take away the love you have for your family, and what you want to care for them with your children, and each generation took pride in the next generation being better or had it easier than the one before. Look where that's got us. See, in the United States, we've done a lot of bad things, but we've protected the nation of Israel, and we're going to continue to do that, and that's why we've prospered. Are we going to have problems? Yes, but we still win. And there's no other reason why we win other than protecting Israel, because we're not any better than anybody else on the earth. We got the same problems, the same sin as all the folks, the rest of them, but we have done right. All the things, the denominations and religions and the dividing and just doing all kinds of craziness to the body of Christ over 2,025 years. The United States is still standing strong, 250 years, and we're just teetering on the United States of America never being the same, ever. And I've been telling people that for 2.5 years. You just have no idea how the United States is going to change in a very short period of time. And believe it or not, as bad as you think it's going to be here, it's worse everywhere else in the world. Unless you've got, a nuclear bunker that costs, $1 billion or $500 million, and then you got no problems. Until then, we have to really pray and ask the Lord for protection for our families. And I can tell you this, that my Lord is sufficient. He is sufficient. He is in control. When it's all said and done, they'll be exactly where they're supposed to be at the place they're supposed to be in. And then we'll win. But we have to do our part. And our part is to protect our National Guard, to get behind our military, our first responders, to support every way we can financially. If you know they're out, you can help their wives, their children. Do whatever you can to help the National Guard, the ICE agents, the military, the people that, 40% now, it's increasing from 30 to 40. People really, really are getting behind this socialist, communist movement in our country. Well-funded, well-orchestrated. You see them invading and infiltrating everything, and they're not going to win, but they're not going away. So I do appreciate that question as far as what us not being a part of the one world government. We're not a part of the one world government. How do we handle it economically? We'll have our own system. We will struggle, but it will be better than anywhere else in the world, because this world, folks, is fixing to get, as I've told you before, really, really different. Daniel 7, the four beasts. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and the visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven strove upon the great sea, and four great beasts came up out of the sea, one diverse from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man. Now there is in Daniel talking about that one world government, and the United States being plucked from that one world government, with England being the head. Now in Revelations 12:4, you'll see now that, or 12:14, you'll see now that those four beasts have become one beast. And in 12:14, you'll find that the United States again is from 600 BC in Daniel's vision, where they were plucked from the lion, to now they're not a part of that beast. But what are they doing instead? And when the dragon saw that was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and a half a time from the face of the serpent. What is the United States going to be doing if they're not a part of the one world government? They're going to protect that nation of Israel. They're going to be the wings of an eagle, and they're going to win because they protected her for the last 3.5 years. We're not losing World War III in the Sixth Trumpet War and getting back to where we're so powerful that we're going to be able to protect Israel. We win in the Sixth Trumpet War, and my Lord wins at the Battle of Armageddon. And what we've got to do between now and then is go out and tell people about my Lord Jesus Christ. Get them on the winning team. Get them on the winning team. So there is the goal of what we're trying to accomplish at the Phee Network, and I hope we can have a lot of fun and rock and roll with it before it's over. You know, I think about the United States. Everybody says, how can we fight against the whole world? And I tell them, it's think of it as this: we might be in the minority, but we've still got the best personnel. You know, a fast food restaurant I like called Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A was a Christian-based founder, and he basically has a privately owned business today. He's turned down tons and tons of money for it, but he's not open on Sundays. He loses $1.2 billion annually in profits because he's not open on Sundays. But my Lord has blessed him to the point, or blessed that company and that business to the point to where their franchise owners make more money per store than any other franchise, including if you combined McDonald's and Wendy's together. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to sacrifice. He's going to separate the wheat from the chaff. Do you want a fire insurance policy, or do you want to serve a risen Savior? Do you want a master that you're going to serve, or do you want to serve yourself and pleasure in the world and be able to do whatever you want to live for another short amount of time? Remember, you're not in control of your life. You have to make good decisions. And even when you do, other people can change your destiny real quick. It's normally the ones that are in charge. It's normally the ones that are telling you what to do, how to do it, when to do it, how much you can spend on it, and penalizing you if you don't do it the right way. That's mentally conditioning. That is the communist spirit. That is the red horse. And that is your one world, United Nations, one government for the whole world. So we're going to be hanging out with the lady with the 12 stars. And we're going to win. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to live in the United States of America. And let's get the folks out that don't love America. And there's going to be some problems. So let's suck it up and get ready to go. It's just that simple. If you know you've got 2 decisions, you've got 2 choices, you know this is coming, which one do you want to be a part of? You want to choose to win or choose to be on the losing side. Never exchange long-term gratification for short-term success. Nobody will remember 2 days from now anyway. It's a 24-hour news cycle. So what we've got to do is change that culture, make it a culture of love, of energy, and effort, that people want to be together. And during these times, you're either going to be driven apart or you're going to be drawn together. And families and clusters, they need to understand that. Because as soon as they get through at the grocery stores and there's no food there, they're coming after your food. Because they believe that they want to eat more than they want you to eat. and their children want to eat more than your children need to eat. So you better prepare yourself now, because I'm not a survivalist, and I'm certainly not a conspiracy theorist. And if I wouldn't have had a vision in June the 24th, 2023, I wouldn't be here tonight. I'd be dead, terminally ill. So I'm here, and I'm doing my part. I'm having a great time, but I'm telling you right now, we've got to have more people watching. I want more people watching on a daily basis. And I know I've got to get to a short form, a short, a minute, 30-second, minute and a half to try to draw the audience. But I've got to get this content out. So it's just, there's so many hours in a day, and we've got to work and get everything done. And there's where we are. But economically, the United States will find a way. We do win. But you're not gonna get through this without your life and your country changing forever. That's a fact, and I have seen it. Next question, Phee, what are some of the things that men do that women can't resist? Kyle from Texas. Well, Kyle, what are some of the things that men do that women can't resist? And you're a guy, so you want me to tell you some things to do that will attract women to you. First of all, if you're in a group setting, you want to be the leader. You want to lead. You want to make the decisions. You want to be firm and very casual. But you want a leadership role in that group. You want to make sure. Remember, attraction will follow leadership most of the time. So again, if you're in a group setting, you don't need to sit back and let somebody else try to help you. You need to speak when you need to speak. Don't walk in there like you're a jittery. Don't walk in there like you're trying to take over the place. The less you talk at first and the more you read, then when it's time, you lead. Secondly, I would tell you that men that are alpha males that are high value, they don't chase, and they don't need validation. They don't bend because of they think the girl's cute, or because he thinks she needs something, or she wants him to do this, or she wants him to do that. What you want is to set the standard. You want to be the standard, and then everybody else is looking for validation from you instead of you looking for validation from them. So set yourself apart from that. Also, you always have the option to walk away. If you always have that option to walk away early on in a relationship, you will attract more women than if you're all in, because it's not to be threatening. You don't need to threaten people that you're going to walk away. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to have choices. They need to understand that they're not your only choice, that you chose them. You don't have to have them. And that's very important early on, because if you're chasing or you're hanging on to her every word for a compliment, or if she giggled at your joke, you're in that whole 82% of the general dudes out there. So you want to be scarcity is a good thing. Scarcity, when you're not around a lot, it adds value to you. A lot of times it's like I've told you, where familiarity degrades greatness. Because if you're around people all of the time, then you know them as Joe or Phee, but if other people are in awe of them, or they see him in a different setting and they don't know anything about it, then that's greatness there. But if you can recognize greatness, it's wonderful. But if you're around it every day, it tends to be normal. So familiarity definitely degrades greatness. The same way as scarcity, isn't that great? Not being around all the time increases your value, basically, just like a supply and demand from an economic standpoint. If there's a whole lot of you can buy it cheap. If you're rare, then you cost a whole lot. See, so and that we're not talking money in situations. We're talking about emotional intelligence and as far as companionship and relationships. You have to control your emotional state. You don't overshare. You don't overreact. You don't brag. Mystery and how you say things and how your body language matters a whole lot more than a real good compliment. So you don't need to over compliment by any means. That's how they hear that all the time. Yeah, if you don't, you need to be the no drama guy, the no screaming guy, the no nothing gets under his skin guy. He's got a calm demeanor. When he acts, when he speaks, he does so with intent. Those are things that I would say that are very important to women. Remember, you need to make her adjust to your schedule rather than you adjusting to her schedule. You need to make her feel like that she's a part of your world rather than you're a part of her world. And once you get past that, what I like to say is the first couple of dates, the first times of interactions, to where you're actually performing. Then after that, you really want to connect. You really want to be connecting, and the way you do that is to be yourself. And that's why it's always better to lower expectations and then be yourself. And if they don't like you, that's fine. But you don't chase people. You don't go to parties that you're not invited to. And if they cut you, you don't hang around their practices and be the water boy. So that's just that's the way I operate. So as far as the question from another dude, Kyle, I hope that's helped you. Phee, what are some of the things that men do that women can't resist? And I think I probably pretty much hit all of those that I'd looked at. Next question, Phee, what is your opinion of the flat earth theory, UAPs, the number of human senses, and weather manipulation? Paige in Kansas. Well, Paige, let's talk about the first one, the flat earth theory. Just had heard about it throughout my life, never the least bit interested in it. Didn't think anything about it other than when you're thinking about science and math and quantum physics and mechanics, those type of things. Space tends to come into play a lot. So I'm not a big flat earth theory kind of guy. Why? Because most people believe that the sun is stationary and the planets rotate around the sun, which is completely false and is something else that I don't understand why teachers continue to teach it. I think Aristotle probably taught it 200 years or 2,000 years ago. I mean, it's just the sun is moving constantly and it's rotating constantly, and the planets are rotating and moving constantly in the same gravitational pull as the sun. So it's more of a spiral rather than a circle. Everything's moving, but it looks constant. So again, I'm not a big fan or believer in your flat earth theory. As far as your UAPs, that used to be called UFOs when I was growing up, but now they've got different names for them. Instead of unidentified flying object, it's basically some aliens or some air folks that are up there that they can't figure out what they are. The Navy has been having congressional hearings about what's going on in your oceans. There's some of the biggest conspiracy theorists out there that are just telling the truth on a lot of things, but people just discredit them, I guess, because of the way they sound. Kind of like Phee with a vision. If you would think if all I did was sit there and talk to you about the lion, you might think that I was out there. But bottom line is, I don't see how people can't believe in excuse me, all the evidence that's overwhelming when it comes to UAPs or UFOs. Now, Mark thinks that they are all demonic, and it's the realm that they're, because it's almost the end of times, with the season being right, that they're being able to come in and out of that dimension. They're getting more and more confident. There's alien invasions coming. Whatever all that is, they're going to deceive you, and I'm going to be right here because I already know how that ends, and so they won't know that anytime soon. So if they can do it the way I saw it, then that would be very strong deception for Phee. But if they don't, this world's not going anywhere. My Lord's going to set up a 1,000-year kingdom on this earth. And so when they tell you they're fixing to blow it up from some asteroid or they're going to kill a third of mankind. And they're going to make you sign up for a one world government and a one world religion. It's an interfaith, and all roads lead to God. And every religion talks about Jesus, but they don't have him as the main character. So I got a feeling he'll be involved somehow, and they will try to deceive us with that, or they'll have their alien dude come in and this is just a simulation, and they just go on and on and on, folks. The deception's everywhere because people don't know what to believe. But as far as UAPs, yes, they're out there. There's too much evidence that they're not. And what they're doing in Antarctica and what they're doing under these pyramids and what they've got underneath the Vatican, and it just goes on and on and on. All Phee wanted to do is just have a good time. And now he's in an arena. He's in a sandbox that he hasn't played in a lot. And he's getting his nose bloodied a lot too. And that'll be okay because I'm capable of not only catching up, but I'm capable of surpassing, especially when my Lord gave me all that I need. So, Phee's nothing. But with my Lord and Savior, he chose me to be here and coach you, and that's what I'm going to do. So weather manipulation, it's real. There's no question about it. I didn't believe it, but the science and math, it's just too easy. They've got corporations now, just like last night I talked about this cloning. They got a cloning company and several cloning companies. And Tom Brady's is an investor in one, and he's got a clone dog. Well, I knew they were doing all kinds of cloning, but I didn't know they were on the publicly traded market or investing in cloning companies. Again, Phee's been on the disabled list, if you don't know what that means. But that's strange. But weather manipulation, yeah, it's real. There's not a question about that. I don't believe in the flat Earth theory. UAP is definitely real. Weather manipulation, definitely real. As far as your number of senses, that's kind of a joke and type deal. Everybody knows your sight and your touch, and you hear, and you feel, and you taste. So those are basically what you've been taught for several years. But I can tell you that you definitely have the sense of pain because even if you're not feeling the inside of your organs or the inside of your body, if you've got an infection, you definitely have a sense of pain. So you have a sense of discomfort, a sense of pain. So I know when they start talking about from a funneling standpoint, you don't have but 5, but you definitely have a sense of pain. You definitely have a sense of hunger. I would tell you that once you've gone a certain amount without food, the hunger pains or the hunger desires will go away. And sometimes it's very good to fast. But the first 2 days of fasting, you're going to have all kinds of hunger. So you're going to have a sense of pain. You're going to have a sense of hunger. And you're certainly going to have a sense of temperature. Your internal body organs, especially. I spent 9 months trying to get my liver 1 to 1.5 degrees cooler than my body temperature. Very hard to do. So I would spend a lot of 12, 13 hours sometimes in the bath with nothing but the coldest water on me, trying to help regenerate, stop the failure, and then regenerate the liver to the point to where with a decompensated liver, I had 3 months to live on average. So that's what I had. With ascites, I had to eliminate, then I had to get from a decompensated liver to a compensated liver. They said it couldn't be done. It hadn't been done. I have done it. And I had to take that in steps when I was very, very sick in 2022. And there definitely is a sense of temperature. There's a sense of pain. There's a sense of hunger. Now, if you want to put that under different categories, then you can definitely put it in there with the hearing and the taste and the touching and the feeling and the seeing. But there's a sense of temperature, and there's a sense of pain, and there's a sense of hunger. And people say you have a sixth sense. Some people say you have a third eye with a pineal gland. You've got a whole lot of mysteries in the body. I love the human body. Absolutely, I've always loved it, and I love a beautiful woman. When I was younger, I was just around so many beautiful women. My mother and father owned a women's clothing store, so I would go to the Great Hall in Dallas and see all these models. And I can remember being 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 years old. Little bitty boy, just really loved to look at that fashion and them, the accessories, and just have a real eye for beauty and for to evaluate talent. And same with men. I mean, I can tell you that a good-looking dude, and I can tell you whether he's a high-value man, and I can tell you whether he's a good athlete. I can evaluate talent, and I don't have any homophobia. I'm not interested in putting my tongue in their mouth or holding their hands. I like ladies. I like young girls and ladies, and I've always liked females. So I've never had that type of situation, that problem. But I can assure you that I can evaluate the talent. So the human body is phenomenal. God made it to where we can regenerate it. Most of our organs will be able to regenerate, and a lot have already, if they're not damaged, can regenerate. So, but because of our environments, because of our diet, because of the toxins, because of all the medicine and the diagnosis, all of those things have been hurtful and have been disastrous for our bodies. And they've done it to us on purpose. And I know that makes me sound silly, but they have intentionally tried to give you diseases and make you sick through food, diet, toxins, plastics. You'd be amazed if you knew the intention that they had to try to save as much money as they can to make the most money and really deceive you and let you think that you're receiving nutrients and good food. And they did it from an educational standpoint when you're children, all the way up through all your television shows, all your propaganda. And they're going to do the same thing with these AI companions. They're going to do the same thing with these AI butlers. They're going to do the same thing with everything they're going to bring you. They're going to start with the wealthy. If it's something that they need or they want, you're going to want it too. And then they'll cut the price down to where you'll be able to afford it, and they've got you. So I would say you've got that many senses at least. Another one that I thought about was the sense of thirst. If you've been hungry before, that's one thing. But if you've been thirsty before, and I've been thirsty before, and I'm talking real thirsty where you just, you'd pretty much drink some dirty water. So if you've ever been that thirsty, that's a sense too. So I know that I'll probably take some criticism for that, as they'll say it all falls under the same category. But when the question is asked with weather manipulation and UAPs and flat Earth theories, I figure I better as well spend the most time on what I would know the most about, which would be the senses of the human body. So I do appreciate that question. Thank you so much for it, Paige in Kansas. Also, we went back to talk about the mouth of a lion and how the United States wings were plucked from that lion. and how the United States, the wings of a great eagle, will take the woman with the 12 stars out in the wilderness and protect her for time and a half of times. Beast system is here. It's in place right now to where if they had the United States out of the way or the United States committed to it, they'd already be doing it. And they're not going to get there until after the Sixth Trumpet War. They need the United States to protect them against these other folks. And once we do that, which we are, the same folks that we've been protecting and fighting with and loving, we're going to turn back around 3.5 years later and fight against them. And we're going to win both. So let's love our country. Let's love our military. Let's love our National Guard. Let's protect them. Let's pay them. And understand this government shutdown is going to keep going until they don't want it to anymore, and it'll be over. And they want to create chaos. And each side's going to blame the other. So, and each side's got enough ammunition on the other to keep it going. The bottom line is, you're going to end up paying. And isn't that the way it always goes, folks? That you're going to end up paying. Somehow, some way. They'll find a way to stick the people that can pay and that will pay. Not the ones that can't pay or that won't pay. And not the ones that can pay but won't pay. So I do appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. We're going to be talking about the mouth of the lion more. We're going to be talking about the head of the leopard. We're going to be talking about the foot of the bear. And we're going to have a good time with this. But first thing what we've got to do is get through the Sixth Trumpet War. Let's get ready to hunker down and get through that. And let's move on. But let's pay these folks, because this civil unrest, it doesn't get better. It gets worse. It's just now starting, folks. It's just now starting. It's in its infancy. I have seen it, and it's going to get a whole lot worse. Until tomorrow, thank you for tuning in to Night with Phee. Remember, no matter what you're doing, you're missing something. So let's make what we're doing worth what we're missing. Night.